Hello everybody, Gisele Grenier here. In this video lesson, you're going to learn how to create a simple, small piece of art. I just typically call them artist trading cards, but you can do this on any size. And to prove that, in this video, I'm going to work on a playing card. And then in another video is to show you how to take this design and create a larger version of it, even using different supplies. So this is just a plain old simple artist trading card. It's a playing card. It's almost the same size as an artist trading card, which is 2.5 by 3.5. It doesn't matter. I know a lot of you from the emails I'm getting is you're getting so stuck on trying to have the exact same supplies, and you don't need to. Use what you have. All right, so I'm going to show you the supplies now, but what I want you to do is at the end of the video is what I actually ended up using, because you guys know that sometimes I use more, less, so I want to give you that complete list at that time. So cheap old simple playing card, and if I say artist trading card, I mean playing card. For the supplies, I'm going to be using Decor Americana Multi-Purpose Sealer, the Decor Chalky Gesso, the white, Decor Medium Matte Medium, Decor Medium Misters, the primary yellow and turquoise, and this should actually be primary cyan. Okay, I'm going to bring primary cyan out because I'm not sure if I'm going to like this color. We'll see. We'll see. And then for acrylics, Decor Media Fluid Acrylics, Burnt Umber, Ultramarine Blue, and Titanium White. Mr. Bottle. And I've got a corner punch, which I may use, I may not, I'm not sure, because I want to, if I put paper on there, I'm going to need to get those rounded edges. I don't know yet. So, but again, at the end of the video is where all the supplies are going to be. Okay, so I've got a Americana stencil called Fenced In. And I've got tops from protectors for paintbrushes, new paintbrushes that I purchased. Got those. And let's see, some random digital scrapbook paper. Go to graphicsfairy.com. You can, or even just Google digital scrapbook paper. You can pick. I want stuff that's black and white. Now, what I have done in some instances is take scrapbook paper that I did have, and I just printed it in black and white because I needed black and white. I didn't want color. So now getting digital stuff is so much better. And a quote, see the world, and you can print these off. A good font to use for this, which is a free font, Open Sans or Source Sans, is a good font to use, all in uppercase, because it's heavy enough but not too heavy. And I've got a printed tissue, and this is just a butterfly stamp, and I printed it on dollar store tissue and just tore it. Okay. All right, so that, yeah, takes care of that. Oh, and a cosmetic sponge. So let me just get this out of the way. Now I've got some pieces prepared to speed things up. So with the playing card, because it's got a heavy gloss finish on it, you can't just paint on that because the paint will come off. I can pretty well guarantee that. So what I'm going to do with this is that there's two ways. You can lightly sand it and then gesso it. Problem with lightly sanding it, unless you're wearing a mask, is that you may inhale those particles, and especially here in Canada, it's wintertime. It's like minus, I think, 19 Celsius outside right now. Furnace is going non-stop, so there's a lot of airflow. I don't want to do sanding because I have to wear a mask and then I can't talk. So you take that, and I'm going to use the multi-purpose sealer, the Decor multi-purpose sealer. Let's put a little bit right there. And this is kind of a two-phase part. And you're going to put that on there. Now, I also did some experiments, and using this multi-purpose sealer, covering everything up, and then putting thick gesso on there, and then putting it in front of the heat vent, the gesso cracks, and it's such a cool effect. So you're just going to take that, and then you're going to put it aside to dry. Where? I have no idea. And then you end up with something like that. Okay, and then with what you're going to do with this now is you're going to come in, and I've got the gesso in a small bottle. You're going to come in And this chalky gesso, it gives a really nice velvety finish to it, or suede I should say. So you're going to apply a coat of gesso, and what I like to do with, especially with the playing cards, is 2 coats. And yes, you can speed up the drying time on this with a heat gun. I'm going to take that, put that aside to dry. And then you end up with something like that. I know it's a mess. I got some brown paint on that. You're going to apply another layer. Don't you like when you have magic of video? Just to show you the transparency. You can choose to work from that, but you can see here, I missed some gesso here, so I want to make sure I put another piece. And it's just, if it's for your own use, just experimenting, then you use it as it is, but I want to make sure that my piece doesn't fall apart, because I leave these around as found art around the city. I put them in little bags, and if there's a police officer around, I make sure this is what I'm doing. Is that okay? Just so I don't get a ticket for littering. And you end up with something like that. And I still have a little bit of shine there, so I'll just put that there. All right, so with this in place, and again, this is, if you're going to just paint this, if you're just going to collage on this, you don't need to go to this degree, but this is just to get you into a proper practice of priming your pieces. And a pack of playing cards, okay, if you get them at the dollar store to create art, you're looking at 52, 53, 54, 55, probably 56 cards, because you've got the 2 jokers, and then usually 1 or 2 instruction cards or promotional cards. So even if it's just, say, 52 without the jokers, for $1 to $1.50, you know, depending on where you are in the world with whatever you have, I mean, go that extra little mile just to prep your cards, because you're saving a ton of money. You're saving a ton of money. All right. Now, to speed up the drying time on this, you just take the heat gun or your hair dryer and you just go over it like this. Keep it moving, and you can see where it's starting to... So you can see where it's going matte. That's where it's dry now, and then the shiny part is where it's wet. Just keep it moving, keep it moving. Don't leave it in one spot, because you're going to burn the card. Because don't forget, that gloss covering on it is like a plastic coating, and you don't want to melt it. And I can do this on my hand, with my hand underneath, because if my hand is fine under the heat, then the card is going to be fine as well. Now let me just flip this over, because that's wet. And I'm putting this here because of that glare. All right, so we've got that. Now what I'm going to do, and this is why going to this many degrees of gesso wasn't really necessary, because we're going to be putting paper on top anyways. So I've got this scripty stuff here, and I'm going to go right about here, because what's going to happen is we're going to be painting everything, and then the butterfly. So I don't want anything too heavy duty. So I'm going to turn this way, because I've got the stamp. So I'm going to look at it in the top corner, right there. Okay. So that's what I'm going to do. All right. So don't forget, I'm also going to cover everything I end up using at the end of the video. And just wash that brush. And matte medium, I'm going to put that over everything. Whoops. And the next technique I'm going to show is going to be important that you have matte medium. You can even use decoupage medium, that's fine. If school glue goes transparent, you can use that. We need to create a barrier layer. And I always put matte medium on both sides, which gives me time to position it. Slide that over right to the very edge. Not to that close to the edge, right there. Okay. Press the dickens out of it. Okay. And let's just Put some matte medium there, because if you're going to put a label on the back of your, if you're doing this as an artist trading card, you'll need to put a label on the back. So let's gesso it, or matte medium it. Let's seal it anyways for just so the edges are stronger. Okay. All right, so I'm going to quickly just dry the back side. Now, because this is plastic coated, that make sure the heat. And again, with this, it also goes matte when it's dry. So I'm going to trim this now. And when you're trimming stuff that you've got matte medium, what to do is have a baby wipe handy, or even some 70% rubbing alcohol in a paper towel. As you cut, make sure you wipe your scissors, because once that matte medium gets on there, your scissors get gungy. And I'm just going to cut it square for now. And then I'll come in and do the corners. Ooh, I didn't go quite far enough. I've got that white border on there. That white border, that's okay. All right, so now I'm just going to go around. So I won't need those trimmers. And I'm thinking now probably the smaller scissors. I'm having a heck of a time seeing this. I got new glasses, but they're still... I think I'm getting old age now. This still has some good pieces in it. I'm going to hang on to that. All right, put that over there. So now we have that. Now I'm going to take, oops, I still need this, matte medium, and on the top side. This is going to create that barrier layer, because what we're going to do is we're going to stain the paper. And in order to do that, you need that barrier layer. Otherwise, the paint is going to go right into the paper, and you won't be able to do all this marbling that I'm going to show you. It's just going to go into the paper, and then that's it. But by putting the barrier layer on top, you're sealing the paper, and the paint will be able to float. I'm going to put 2 coats on this. This is, I printed this on regular photocopy paper, and I want to make sure it's completely sealed. Now, if you're doing this on regular paper, there's an air bubble there. If you're doing this on regular paper, the more collage material or matte medium that you put on there, the better. Does not take long at all. Yeah, that air bubble is really strong there. I didn't push it enough. I'm not going to worry about it. And make sure that before you start painting that card is cold or room temperature. You don't want to be painting on a hot card. Okie dokie. Got that. Now let's play. So now we don't need that right now. This is going to make a mess. So I'm going to take the... Yeah, I'm going to use all 3. So I'm going to take the Decor Medium Mister, the primary yellow. I'm not going to spray because it makes a mess. Now these are permanent. I'm going to need to do this on the table, but you're going to have that glare. Sorry, there's no way around this, but I could do that. There we go. Now this, yeah, so this is permanent. It's not water soluble. And let's take the shimmer mister, but you have to shake them constantly because there's so much pigment in here, it sinks to the bottom. And I don't like using these as misters because they always clog up, because it is permanent. I've got a cap on there. Okay, so that takes care of that. Now I'm going to take some water, and now I'm on my unstick mat. It's a no stick mat. This is unstick mat. You can do this on palette paper, whatever, but you don't want your, whatever you're putting your paint on, you don't want it to be absorbent. So when you spray, I use about, with this, that much that I put on, I usually put about 4 or 5 pumps. And what it does, it beads up. Okay, it beads up nice and tight. And then what I'm going to do, and you'll need a heat gun or a hairdryer for this, I'm going to take this, okay, and I'm just going to touch into the yellow. And I'm going to dry that. If you keep dipping in all the colors, you're just going to mix all the colors together, which is fine, but I want to show you what you can do with this, doing it this way. And what you end up with a real beautiful washy mix, a washy effect. Okay, so I've got the majority of that dry. Okay, so that's fine. Now watch. I'm going to dip that now into the blue. And then where it touches the yellow, it's going to turn green. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? And I can guide that right to here. See, if this was raw paper, this wouldn't work. I'm going to dry that. Now my table tilts more towards me, so if I were to leave the card by itself, everything would come down this way. Take that off. I like that. I'm loving that edge. Loving that edge. What I really love is this hard edge on the watercolor. Let me get a little bit closer. Here we go. All right, so now I'm going to go back into the blue again. Now let's say this happens and I want it to go further down. Just take a, where's my thing? I'm going to take my core there. Lean that. It will eventually go down, but I don't want it to be too heavy. Just take a bit of water and just spray, which will encourage it. The paint follows moisture, and then I can tilt it back. And I can dry that. Then you can do this project 10 times. It'll be different each time. And the more spray, the more transparent it's going to be. Okay, so I'll just do a little bit more. Now let's see if we mix it together. See, now you get green here. All right. But they look beautiful though if you let it dry naturally. It's not toxic, so you can use your fingers in there just to spread things out. I want to get a hard line. There we go. And go back and forth, and every time you go back and forth, it dries a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. Go. All right, then I'm going to go into the shimmer. Ooh, that's nice. And let's go into the blue, and let's get a bit of the green. Here we go. So you then can choose, okay, well, what if you want to just leave it like that and then just let it dry? Just leave it like that. The other thing you can do, once it's dry, you can pick up some paint and then you can come right in and just drop some paint at the top. So make it more watery than more of the pigment, because if you put too much, not enough water, it's going to be really, really, really intense. Okay, so I'm going to leave that. What I want to show you is, while this is drying naturally, I want to show you a couple of examples, and this here you can use that as well for collage material. So I did some other pieces just to show you. Paper towel, let me just put something there for that glare. Alright, so, and I wrote down what I did. So this is the Medium Mister Primary Cyan, exactly the same, just the one color, and all I did was just keep tilting it, but look at that beautiful pattern. Okay. Same thing now, this is with the Decor Media Fluid Acrylics. This is with Phthalo Blue. So although the colors are a bit different, you can see the different type of effects. Where the ink is a little, or the media misters are a little bit stronger, the fluid acrylics. And then, so this is the Distress Inks. This is Stormy Sky, very washy. Very, very washy. You can get that same effect by taking this in another puddle with some white. This is Dr. P.H. Martin. This is the watercolors in a bottle. Okay, but look. The difference, this is a fraction of the cost, and this goes a lot further because this is permanent. This is watercolor. So if I were to go on top of this with something else, it's going to reactivate. So I need to put a sealer on that. And then this is the Core, Q-O-R, same thing, the watercolor medium. The watercolor cores. With this as well, it'll reactivate. All right. So waited for a little bit for this to dry, but look what we have now. I mean, it's gorgeous. You can see it just enough of the background, which is perfect. So with this now, what I want to do is come in. I'm thinking, well, I think I want to put that there. That's how far over can we go? Because I want to do the stenciling, and I'm thinking, do I want to stencil on top? I don't want to stencil everywhere. Do I want to stencil underneath? And I'm thinking I want to stencil on top for it to be a little bit brighter. If I stencil underneath, oh, that will make that brighter. So let's stencil underneath. Okay, just going to pop that on there. No biggie. Ooh, there's barbed wire there. Let's do it like that. And I'm going to use titanium white, the fluid acrylics. You don't need a lot on this. Very light. I'm going to go a little bit heavier here because that's where the paper is going to be. Just want to stain. Okay, well, a little bit more than that. A little bit more than that. See the acrylic, even though the white it's opaque, it's a fluid acrylic, so it is going to, whoops, that shifted. It is going to be more translucent. That's better. All right, let's clean that up. And you know what? I was worried about my stencils being always dirty. I saw a video on YouTube. Another artist, wonderful artist, and her stencils were really dirty. So I'm like, you know, I'm not going to worry about that anymore. Actually, I lied. Wasn't a girl. It was Mike Deacon. Love his work. Love his work. And his stencil was really, really dirty. Huh? You know what? If a wonderful artist like Mike can have a dirty stencil, so can I. Love, love, love his work. All right. But look at that. You know what? I'm going to leave that. I'm going to use that for, see if I can use that in another piece of art. Okay, so let me just quickly dry this. And by using the cosmetic sponge, and I didn't go for perfect impressions, you've got just a fuzz there. And I'll get a close up look on that. See? You got that texture there? Beautiful. And some of the shimmer from the turquoise shimmer is peeking through, giving you that pearlescent look. Love that. All right. So let's come in. Oh man, arthritis is kicking up today. Let's pop that. Oh yeah, gorgeous. Now when you're using the, if I was a paintbrush, where would I be? Do not leave a heat gun next to a water container. When you're using tissue, I think it's time for me to order. When you're using tissue on the card, it becomes transparent. So I'm going to put the matte medium over the whole thing. I'm going to come in and also put matte medium on the back of the tissue, and then quickly pick it up. And put it as close to the edge as possible. Whoopsie. We got a little bit of wrinkles going on here. That's okay. Oh, I just heard Joe sneeze right through the heat vent. Okay, I'm going to push. And be careful when you push it out to make sure you don't tear the paper. Did I just tear that? No. Nice. We got some trees in the background. But go check out the video. I think it was about 4 or 5 videos ago where I showed a demonstration. The demonstration is in the 4 art journal covers complete lesson. I mean, it's a really long lesson, but you just watch the beginning part for how to make this. And yeah, I did tear it, but that's okay. Okay, let's let that dry. Now what I'm going to do is, I'm going to need that still. I'm going to create a chromatic black, and I want to grab these as well. I'm going to use these to stamp little impressions. But for that, I'm going to use the chalky gesso. No, I'm not. I'm going to use the paint. So a little bit of titanium white there, even that's too much. And equal parts of ultramarine blue and burnt umber. And just going to mix those up, and it makes a beautiful, rich chromatic black. Chromatic black is black with color. If you use like carbon black, it's more opaque and it's lacking of color. But this here, just to show you, it's a really rich color. It's not flat. All right. So what I'm going to do, oh goodness, another cosmetic sponge. And drying time and cleaning these are a bugger. So I'm going to cut this piece here. And I'm going to dab. And I'm going to put this around. You can also drag this on a archival stamp pad if you want. Now, if you're heavy-handed, what to do is put matte medium over the whole piece first, then do this, because if you do this and you get a little bit in the front, then you can wipe it off. And this is just to get rid of that white edge, put a little bit on the inner edge, and it pops right off the page. That dry yet? That's not quite dry yet, so let me just get that going. There we go. And I'm going to repeat the same thing here. I'm going to touch. And what it does, especially where the collage I did, and the tissue and the playing card where they touch, sometimes you can see a seam because it's, you know, 3 layers, and this just helps cover it up. I need to cut that corner a little bit better. Then if I off stamp to get rid of the majority of it, then just come in outside, inside to outside. And it just puts a light layer on the inner border. Okay, and with whatever's left over, and then you can come in and just very lightly very lightly, just go around, and it creates that vintage edge. You can choose to do this with black, with actually any color. But be careful if you're going to use distress ink or distress stamp pads for this. I did a test on something, and what I did, I accidentally left it with I edged it with the vintage photo distress inks, and which are water soluble. Put it on my chair as I was cleaning up, and I forgot about it. I sat down. I've got these square prints on the butt part of my jeans now. Now they'll come off because it's water soluble, but yeah, just be careful when using stuff that's water soluble. You can always spray with fixative. So that takes care of that. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these little bottle toppers and just going to come in and just touch. Why is that so uneven? Oh, because it's broken. That's a little heavy. Let me just blot that up. And when you've got matte medium down on the paper, you can also use, you can wipe it off with a baby wipe as long as it's still wet. But if it's not wet, if it's dry, then just put a little bit of rubbing alcohol on the card and the paint will come up. Can't see that. There we go. Oops, that's a splatter, but that's okay. Okay. I wonder if I can just put this on while it dries. But as you can see, you can't even see the edges of where that is. I'm going to grab a baby wipe and I'm just going to blot that out. It's a little heavy. Ooh, I like that. Where it's leaving a stain, an impression. Okay, I like it. Yeah. There we go. Beauty. Okay, matte medium. And from here now, it's just about, you know, really it's just about, you know, you can embellish it any way you want, but I want to make something really, really simple. Because with this, what I'm going to do now is, not now, but is in an upcoming video, is to show you how to take inspiration from a piece of art, any piece of art, and then transform it into something else. And this will help those of you who are so focused on a certain style and you can't picture it being something different. All right, let's take that, cover that up. Now you wouldn't know at this point that it's a playing card. So a couple of other things that you can do. Let's say, and I'm not going to do it because I'm done now, but let's say this part here, you don't like how heavy some paint has shown through. Come back in with tissue paper on top of that again, and that'll set it back. Come in with gesso. Actually, let me do that. Or even just a titanium white. Come in and you can come in with a little bit of titanium white. Stay there. Oh my God. You can come in with a little bit of white and just go over some of the areas. And you can let it dry, then you can come in with the blue on top of that. I like that just the way it is. Oh, but you know what? The matte medium wasn't dry. It's stuck in there now. So what can I do if I want to get rid of that white? Rubbing alcohol. I'm going to use it on the baby wipe first. There we go. But I like how that's a little bit lighter now. And then I can come in with that black and just come back in here and just darken that edge. And if you don't want to do it in black, do it in whatever color you want. Let me just do that. All right. That's it. That is it. So that takes care of that. Now, I ended up using everything. Okay, I ended up using everything. So let's just go over one more time quickly. Decor multi-purpose sealer to seal the playing card. If you're just using watercolor paper or whatever, you don't need to use this. Decor chalky gesso on the playing card, 3 coats. But if you're going to be collaging, you can get away with just 2 coats. Decor Medium matte medium for the collaging. So that takes care of those. Okay. And then the Decor Media Misters, the primary yellow, turquoise, primary cyan. If you don't have misters, use acrylic paints. Use some type of bright yellow, like Hansa Yellow Light, or even Hansa Yellow Medium. And then use the turquoise. If you want to make a turquoise, you can take phthalo blue with phthalo green. And then primary cyan, which really is, primary cyan technically is phthalo blue with white, but there is no white in this, so I don't know what they use. Do they have the color index numbers on this? No. Yeah, so it actually, I would say it's probably closer to phthalo blue. And then to edge the cards, ultramarine blue and burnt umber. You can use ultramarine blue, burnt umber, burnt sienna, raw umber, doesn't matter. And then titanium white as well for the embellishments. All right. So again, use what you have and play with the colors. Do versions with different colors, you know, for your style and all that stuff. Don't be so focused on creating it exactly like that. And look at the video on how I created the layering of the printed tissue, DIY style. For the words, print it off on your computer with cardstock, or even if you have those micro stamps. But use a font. If you go to canva.com and sign up for a free account, and you can make these yourself because they include a whole bunch of really nice fonts, even some premium fonts with the free version. But Open Sans, Source Sans, anything that's sans serif, S-A-N space S-E-R-I-F. So you don't have all those little wiggle tails on the end of the letters. And you can make your own labels. You print them off. There you go. And I just basically edge them. All right. So for, depending on where you're on the world, for $1.50, you can get 52 of these cards to work on. I mean, holy smokes. Sheet of watercolor paper wouldn't give me that many cards. And it's a lot more money. All right. So let me know what you think of this idea, and if you're going to try to create something inspired from this project. If you post it online, share the link with me so I can take a peek at it, or you can go to artplace.ca, contact me there, and we can arrange for you to email it to me. So I hope that you enjoyed this. I hope that this inspired you to try something different. But I want you to join me in, it won't be the next video. I think it'll be a couple more videos where I'm going to take this design, this composition, and create an art journal cover based on this theme. All right. So until I see you in that lesson, stay inspired.